Hi guys, welcome back to the Camp Chronicles. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about our top post-camp travel destinations. And this is quite a big thing. I think it is a very big part of doing like the summer camp program, isn't it? It's something that everybody looks forward to after working at a summer camp is going and traveling around America on your 30-day grace period. So me and Summer have actually been to a lot of the same places. We've been to some different places. So we just thought it'd be nice to kind of give you a few ideas of places that you might want to visit when you're doing your travels. So where should we start?
Let's just quickly mention that you do actually get 30 days beforehand as well. So
True.
your visa start date, say, is the 16th of June. You have 30 days before that. And you also get 30 days afterwards. It's something people don't always realise. But in that 30-day grace period beforehand, we've both went to New York, haven't we? And I feel like
Yes.
New York's a great place to start because the majority of people end up going there.
Yeah. I think New York as well, especially if your camp is on like the East Coast, is a very good base. Like you being in Pennsylvania, you got picked up from Newark Airport, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like my camp's in New York State anyways, we got picked up from Newark. And I think we both had similar reasons for wanting to kind of go to New York beforehand. Like A, obviously it's New York, like who doesn't want to visit? B, it's quite nice actually. I've found doing a little bit of solo travel, although it's something that I never really did before camp. Now I actually realise that I can do things by myself and I don't need someone holding my hand the whole way around. And C, it really helps you to kind of adjust to the time difference a little bit, doesn't it?
Definitely. And I think I've said it a million times in previous episodes, but I think it's just easier for when you get to camp, you're over the jet lag, you get to settle in there a little bit better. But also, like, who doesn't want to spend some time in New York City and, like, live out their Gossip Girl dream life?
Literally. And I found it was like, obviously I love doing the post camp travels, being there with everybody. This summer before I went to camp, my mum and my sister came with me and we spent like 5 days in New York, I think it was. But like there's something different about when you're there by yourself. You literally feel like you're in a movie, like you are literally the main character and you can go and do what you want. Like if you want to wake up at like 8 a.m. and just go straight out, get breakfast and go and sit in Central Park, then you can. If you want to come back and have like a 3 hour nap in the afternoon, then you can. Like you can literally go wherever you want. But speaking of going wherever you want, what are your kind of favourite things to do in New York? What are your like go-tos that you always recommend?
So I feel like the first time I'd done New York, I'd done the touristy bits. After that, I
Mhm.
kind of just dot about the city and see whatever I want to do in the day. Like you said,
Mhm.
you've got the freedom. But in my first summer and the first time I went to New York, a couple of things that I definitely recommend people doing is I went to the Brooklyn Bridge at
Mm.
sunset on the day that I landed in New York. It was the first time I'd ever been. Went to Brooklyn Bridge, saw the sunset, and ate a Joe's Pizza on the bridge.
Nice.
However, it was very windy and hard to eat, but it was just like, it was literally like I was in a movie. I couldn't believe I was there.
Mhm.
I definitely recommend doing the Rockefeller Center over the Empire State Building
Mhm.
because when you're looking out from the Rockefeller, you've got obviously Central Park, and then on the other side, you've got the view of the Empire State Building. Another thing would be Central Park, getting bagels, sitting on a bench. If you're going obviously during the summertime before camp, watching like all the people doing baseball, doing different sports in the
Mhm.
park. I'd say they're kind of like my top ones to do.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same as well. Like I went in 2016 with like my mum and my sister and we did Top of the Rock. So this year when I went back, me and Stephen and James, we did Summit One. I don't know if you've done Summit One before.
I haven't done any of the observation decks other than the Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, it is actually really good. I mean, you have to, if anyone does go and you're like planning like a really nice outfit and you're trying to get your shoes to match and stuff, just be aware that they make you put those like, they look like dog poo bags but elasticated. Like the hairnet, like it looks like a plastic hair shower cover thing, but for your shoes because a lot of it is like mirror and glass and stuff, and obviously they don't want like dirty footprints all over it. So like you're taking these really nice pictures, and I'm like standing there in like this nice long maxi dress, and then I've just got these big blue like elf looking shoes, and it looks so daft. But yeah, it is still amazing. And again, I think when you're in New York, like you have to go and eat some of like the top like food places, don't you? Like I love Liberty Bagels and Pick a Bagel is also a good one. What's your bagel order actually? What's your go-to New York bagel?
Mine is an everything bagel, extra
Hmm.
toasted with cream
Hmm.
cheese and a tomato slice, and I always go to pick a bagel. I've never been to Liberty Bagel before.
Pick a bagel is solid. Do you get like the plain cream cheese or do you get flavored?
Oh no, I just get plain cream cheese.
Plain. See, I'll get like a proper stinky bagel. I'll usually get an onion or a garlic bagel toasted with scallion cream cheese. So it's basically like they're like spring onions basically. And oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, that was actually crazy. But the first time I feel like going into the bagel places and they've literally got all the flavors of cream cheese just like in a mountain as if it's like ice cream or something, don't they?
No, it is, and I think it's always like you're on edge. You don't know what to order, do you? Because there's just so many options. But I
Hmm.
feel like once you get one good bagel order, you don't really go away from it.
Yeah, you just stick with that the whole time. And you were saying as well about just wandering around, like some of my favourite places to just wander around is obviously Central Park. Like you can literally walk the whole length of Central Park and just be in and out and do all that in a day. Or I really, really like the West Village. Like wandering around the West Village and on, is it the High Line or the Skyline? I think it's the High
The
Line more.
high line, yeah.
High Line and then like down through to Chelsea Market and into the West Village. Oh my god, it's just a dream. I wish I could live there.
We did that before, and they had like we're looking over the High Line. There was like a band like playing trumpets, and it
Oh,
was really good. Oh, just thinking about New York in the summertime, it just gets me so excited.
I know, literally. Like, I feel like a lot of people say like, oh, like it does get old, or like once you've done it a few times, you don't need to do it again. But like, as much as obviously when I go back to camp now, there's other places that I want to explore because I have been to New York a few times. Like, I don't think it'll ever get old. Like, I love being in New York. It's just so much fun.
Just kind of the last thing touching on New York. I don't know if you agree with this, but you can
Mhm.
make New York as expensive or as on budget as you want. Like
Yeah.
the first time I went there, I did all the things I wanted to do. I went to a baseball game. I think the tickets for the Yankees game versus the Chicago Cubs was like $25, and we had really good seats. And then
Mm.
obviously we did the Rockefeller, and then the rest of the stuff we kind of just walked around and saw the sights. So like
Mm.
you can make New York an extremely expensive trip, or you can do it on budget and actually not spend much at all. I think it's the food more than anything that costs a lot of money.
That is like when we do a like post camp travel like tips video, food's definitely something to talk about. Speaking of making it as cheap or as expensive as you want as well, a friend from my camp got a helicopter tour over New York and got one of the like open door ones. So talking about doing it bougie versus on a budget, he went for the bougie option and we were like on the Staten Island ferry and stuff on the budget. Where did you go after New York your first summer?
So I went to New Orleans,
Mm.
just touching briefly on New Orleans because I like to keep about New Orleans brief. Beautiful place, amazing history. It's sad to see, like, obviously what the disaster did a few years ago. A lot, New Orleans still hasn't recovered from the
Mm.
hurricane, but a little bit sketchy. If if you're going, I'd say go in a big group. Definitely don't wander
Yeah.
around on your own. Um, it is a beautiful place, but just personally sketchy.
Again, yeah, New Orleans was like the second place I went on my like route first summer, and we were there, and obviously it's like down south. It was humid as hell, like so humid. It was muggy, it was rainy. Like we just didn't have very good luck with the weather. Like it was cloudy the whole time. Beautiful, like you were saying, walking around the French Quarter, like is unbelievable. Obviously, you've got to go to like Bourbon Street. Another thing that we did, which was quite nice, is a lot of people had the same sort of route, so they went to New Orleans. Actually, no, we went to Miami then, not New Orleans, and a few people did the same route. And there's like obviously like people that we knew from camp, like the Americans that were going to college there. So we went to this bar. What's the college called in New Orleans? Actually, I can't
Tulane.
remember. Tulane, yeah. So we went to Tulane, and there's like a college bar called the Boot there. And like that was probably the highlight is going to the Boot and just like having this like weird American college bar experience. It was so funny. But yeah, if you are, I mean, if you are a girl or if you're anyone, to be fair, just be careful walking around if it's late at night. I made the mistake of deciding I wanted to go home early one night and to walk back to the apartment, and I did have people approach me. I think they thought I was a lady of the night, shall we say. Excuse me, ma'am. And I was like, running, running away to try and get back to our apartment. But no, it's worth a visit. Like, I definitely think it's a place to like tick off the list, but just also like someone was saying, like, go and like be cautious. And I mean, that's the same in a lot of places though that you visit. Really, you've got to have your wits about you.
Definitely, and I mean, like that moves to California next. That we know
Mhm.
we've both done like a few places in California, but like LA, you've got to be so careful certain places that you go. Like you can't turn down one wrong alley
Mhm.
and be in trouble. Like you've just got to be cautious and kind of do your research on where you're going beforehand.
Mhm.
But I personally loved LA. Like I don't know what you thought about it.
See, I was kind of like iffy. Like when I was there, I was like, I'm enjoying it, but I don't love it. But I think that's just because it's so big. And I think, like, when you visit LA, I don't know if you had this expectation, but like visiting LA for the first time, I just wasn't expecting it to be as big as it was. And we stayed in a hostel in downtown LA. We were literally 5 minutes from Skid Row. We'd got the Greyhound bus from Vegas to LA, and the Greyhound bus station, again, is sketchy. Like, it is not. It is literally around the corner from Skid Row as well, and like it's awful. Like it's really upsetting to see, but also it does just make you feel very like unsafe. And to get anywhere from our hostel that we were staying in, it was either like a really long taxi. Like to get from downtown LA to Santa Monica Beach and like Venice Beach, it was nearly an hour taxi. I think that's probably because the traffic was so bad.
Yeah, the traffic's terrible in LA, but we stayed in right next to the Walk of Fame in
Mm.
Hollywood. We stayed in a hostel there for a couple of nights. It was just a strange experience to say that hostel. But we like went and done the hike, the Hollywood Hills hike. There's
Mhm.
loads of different ones to do. We went and done that at sunrise. That was really nice. We went
Mm.
along to see the Oppenheim group
Mm.
building from Selling Sunset, which was
Yeah.
fun. We what else did we do? We then went to Universal. So we did a day at Universal, and then on the night time, we've never disclosed the name like publicly, like
Mhm.
online, but our friend Meg's mum, she had a really good famous friend
Ooh.
who lives in the Hollywood Hills. He's from Scotland and he's a presenter.
You're gonna have
And
to tell me who this is once we cut this out.
and we went to his mansion in the Hollywood Hills, and we got to like the Hollywood sign was so close, like ridiculously close. We got to like
Wow.
swim in the pool, stay in the hot tub. We had like this really fancy bottle of champagne. We had like fine cut glasses. It was just amazing. And the funny thing was while we were at Universal, he was out during the day with Gary Barlow. But at the bottom of the Hollywood Hills, there's like this underpass, like this
Mhm.
bridge, and it's really like full of homeless people, and it's
Mhm.
really scary. But as we drove through there, our Uber driver who picked us up from Universal was blasting Taylor Swift. He was honestly, he had the windows down, he was blasting Taylor Swift, driving us up through the Hollywood Hills. We pulled
Uh,
outside of this guy's house. The taxi driver waited for the person to answer the door so he could see who it was
really?
while he was blasting Taylor Swift. If I haven't already said that name enough, oh my god, we were traumatized. It was so embarrassing because we were like turning up in a not very posh car to a very
Yeah.
posh mansion. So that was fun, and then we stayed down next to the airport after that.
Mm.
Um, and we went to like and done like the Santa Monica beach, went to the
Mm.
pier. It was really nice. We stayed in like a nice hotel then next to the airport. But like you
Mhm.
said, transport there is so like sparse. You can't just walk to places. Like you
Mhm.
have to get an Uber or a taxi, and you're talking
Mhm.
like $60-$70 to get from like Santa Monica up to
Yeah.
the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's crazy.
I know. Like we did get the bus like once or twice, but again, it just took so long. So if you are going to LA, that is just something to be aware of. That it's not as It's not a very walkable place. It's not easy to get from like one place to the other. For example, it's definitely not as walkable as like London. Um, but after we did LA, we got like a really long Greyhound bus, or like an overnight one, which saves you a lot of money. But if you want to sleep and you want to get a good sleep, I don't recommend. We went up to San Francisco. And again, like our first impression of San Fran was awful because we dropped our bags at the hotel and then we were like, right, we'll just go for a wander around and try and find some places. Like we hadn't done like any research beforehand. We were like walking through like the center of the town through like some of these areas and like it felt so sketchy. And it was also like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. So like I think it was a Sunday as well. So there wasn't really many people about. And then later on, when we got back to the hotel and checked in, I was like doing some research about San Fran, and it was like top areas to avoid in San Francisco. And one of them was the Tenderloin district, which is just like one of the main areas in the centre. Lo and behold, that was the area we'd been walking around in the morning, and it had like one of the highest crime rates. And also, the hotel that we were staying in was also in the Soma, south of Market area, I think it stands for. Again, one of the highest crime rate areas and some of the sketchiest streets. So if you are going to San Fran, do your research. So somewhere if you end up going, do your research before you go.
No, I definitely will. I've heard like there's a lot of like drug issues in San Francisco, so definitely,
Yeah.
like Ellen's just said, be careful. But it's funny because you said earlier on when you got the bus to LA, right, from
Mhm.
Vegas, did you say?
Yeah.
Well, we got on the bus in downtown LA the first time we went there to go to San Diego. So you went up,
Mm.
we went down,
Yeah.
and we went to San Diego. Beautiful place. We just didn't do enough there. It was kind of
Mhm.
like this the last spot where we were all really going to be together before
Mhm.
Vegas. So people saw it as more of like a chill out, like we've been on the go non-stop. Let's like not spend as much money. So it's kind of a bit of a regret of mine that I didn't see a lot of San Diego. But
Mhm.
again, I was 19 at the time. I wasn't really going to kind of leave and go out and see places on my
Yeah.
own. We did go for a nice long walk. We got to the San Diego Zoo, saw how much it cost, and walked the opposite direction. I
We're like,
will
nope.
be honest about that. But then, yeah, so we've also done kind of a bus from LA bus station
Mhm.
downtown, and I agree it is sketchy. Um, but it's all part of traveling, isn't it?
Yeah. Experiencing the culture, no matter what the culture is. And if anyone is listening, like, don't genuinely be too put off from seeing these places because, like, it is just like small areas and like we're just kind of sharing our experience of them. Just like in the episode we did the other day with Ellis, his experience of New Orleans was completely different to ours. But yeah, that's something to bear in mind. Speaking of zoos as well, have you ever been to Chicago?
I haven't, no. It's
No.
definitely on the list though.
Chicago, me and Stephen went second summer, and when we first got there, I was just kind of like, eh. Like, I was like, it's fine, it's nice. But then, like, the longer we spent there, the more I was like, oh, actually, no, I do like it. But we went to Chicago Zoo, and that one was free. And it was unreal. Like, it's actually a very good zoo. And it is obviously sad sometimes, like, seeing, like, a polar bear in the middle of a zoo in Chicago. But also, it was just a really good zoo. So if anybody needs a free thing to do in Chicago, then seeing the zoo. And also I'd recommend getting one of those like boat tours along the river. They kind of go into like all the architecture and stuff like that. They're two good things to do.
You said you'd been to Vegas, right? What did you think? Because I only spent like 2 days there.
I love Vegas personally. So I did Vegas my first summer. I'd been to Vegas previously with my family when I was like 13 or 14 or something, so I didn't really get the proper Vegas experience. And then this summer I was in Vegas for a night on one of the trips with camp, and then we were in Vegas again for like a night and a day on part of our road trip. And I love it. Like I could literally, I actually felt really, really safe there. Did you feel safe or?
I felt safe up until I got to a certain point, and then
Mhm.
that's kind of when there was a bit like it was a bit more sketchy on the
Yeah.
strip. I'm trying to think of the exact part where it is. There's like it's
It's,
where the where the Panda Express is. Do you know where that
mhm.
on the strip?
Is
That's
it
where I
like past
found.
Harrah's or something?
It's past like one of the big famous hotels. I mean,
Past
they're all
Caesar's
famous.
Palace towards
Yes.
like the Treasure Island bit.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the only part I thought was a little bit sketchy, but for the most
Yeah.
part, I'm the same. I really enjoyed Vegas. I went in and out the
Mhm.
hotels, saw what I needed to see while I was there. I was 19 at the time, so I didn't get the full on Vegas experience. That's
Yeah.
why I want to go back like this summer.
Hmm.
But no, I enjoyed it. It was just very hot, but it wasn't like New
Mm.
Orleans hot, because
It's
it's dry
dry.
heat. So like you could, if you had a drink in your hand, you'd be all right walking in 40 degrees. But
Yeah.
40 degrees in New Orleans, you're like, can't
Like
breathe.
literally suffocating.
Yeah.
Actually, with speaking of Vegas, the one thing that I would recommend doing, but when you were talking about it being in like a sketchier part of the strip, what's it called? Is it the Stratosphere? It's that really tall one that's like all the way at the far end, like past that circus hotel or something.
Hmm.
And it's got the rides on top of it.
I
Do
don't
you know
think
the one
that's
I mean?
on.
Right, it's literally just like a really like tall building. It does have a little like a hotel next to it, and it's like a massive, like a big like observation deck type thing at the top, but it's like mainly enclosed, and they've got rides on the top of that building, and it is high in the sky, very high. And there was a few, so like one of them's like almost like a little roller coaster seat that you sit on, and if this is the building, it hangs over the edge, and the seat just goes boop, and then it stops. And we went on this one, it was like a claw. So like you sit in the seats like on like a usual claw ride, and then it like brings you out over the edge and just spins you out.
Oh.
If you're a thrill seeker, it was very fun. Like obviously it was safe. We're still here to tell the tale. But yeah, that was something fun to do. Like if you're in Vegas, obviously just walking in and out of the hotels is fun enough as it is because they're all got different themes and stuff like that. But yeah, being like doing those rides was very fun. I enjoyed that.
I haven't personally done like when you could do like the helicopter ride and go on the Grand
Mm.
Canyon and stuff like that. I haven't personally done that, but friends who I'm like really close with last year, they did it and it looked
Mhm.
amazing and they said it was like 10 out of 10. So if it's
Yeah.
definitely in your budget, I would recommend doing it.
Do it, definitely. And then I think another place that we've both been to, or it's obviously a big place, Florida, the whole state, but Orlando and Miami are two places that I've visited on post camp trips. I've done like other places before, but if you like theme parks, then obviously you need to try and somehow fit Orlando into your budget to do like Disney and Universal, all the big ones. Like I absolutely love it there. Like I'm going back to spend 2 weeks in Orlando at the end of my travels this summer. My boyfriend's flying out, and yeah, like I just love walking around all the theme parks, trying all the food, going on all the rides, being in Florida in the sun in the heat. Yeah, Miami as well, beautiful but quite expensive. Did you do Miami when you did your little Florida trip?
Yeah, I did. So touching on Orlando quickly, amazing place, totally agree. You will
Hmm.
never get a feeling like you do on holiday in Orlando. Like it's
Hmm.
just like every day you wake up and it's just like this different feeling. It's so weird, isn't it? Like I wish I could
Yeah.
describe it, but like when you go, you'll understand what I mean.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I went there for 2 weeks after my second summer. It was an amazing trip. Loved every second of it. Um, and then I've also done Miami. So I'd done Miami my first summer for just like literally a day. So I
Hmm.
was staying up the coast in Florida, which I'll touch on that in a little bit. But we
Hmm.
got the train down to Miami. I went to visit Rez there. That's her nickname.
Hmm.
And honestly, sweetest girl ever. And we went to U Miami, saw like the campus, and we saw like the place she was staying. And then
Hmm.
we kind of just walked around a little bit. And like honestly, like it was all right, but it wasn't somewhere I wanted to really go back. The beach was stunning, mind. Like I couldn't believe
Yeah.
it. My eyes were burning looking at the sand.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was nice, but I always vouched I would never really go back there. So and behold, in 2024 summer, I decided to go there and stay there for 4 days. I honestly, like, I think you can do Miami in 2 days. Personally, all that's
Mhm.
there really is the beach. You can obviously go and do the Everglades. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Which I've had friends do, and they said that was really good. But yeah, we kind of went to the beach. We rode bikes across like the beach part, which was
Mhm.
nice. We like rode all the way down to the bottom where there's like a pier. Um, but apart from that, that's all we really did because it was just so expensive.
It is really expensive. And I know like Miami's quite like a party place to go out, like on South Beach and stuff like that, but it is ridiculously expensive to go out. Um, I mean, we stayed in a hostel when we were in Miami, and it was like literally in perfect location. It was like a 5 minute walk from the beach. And it was like a great hostel. I can't fault it. The one thing I do wish we had though was a pool, because I love the beach and it was beautiful. And to be fair, like the sea was warm. Like you are on like that bottom part of coast, so like the sea is warm in Miami. But God, I hate getting the sand everywhere. I'd much rather sunbathe by a pool than sunbathe on the beach. I just hate, like, when you put sun cream on, you go in the sea, you come back out and you need to like put more on, and you're like rubbing it in, but then like the salty sea water's like dried on you, so you're rubbing the sun cream in and the salt's coming off, and then you've got sand stuck to you and you're just literally exfoliating your whole skin. I do still like the beach, but I'd rather have a pool.
Yeah, no, I
Basically.
agree. And that was a good thing. The hotel that we were staying in had like a rooftop pool, which was
Ooh.
nice. It wasn't anything fancy, trust me. Um, but yeah, it had a rooftop pool, which was nice. And then just talking about the beach, we went down for sunset. We got like a little beverage and we got some chipwiches, and we all sat down and watched the sunset because it was kind of the last night like me and the girls were going to be together. And then the next morning we all woke up super duper early and went and watched the sunrise on Miami Beach. And honestly,
Oh.
like it was stunning. I remember we all just kind of sat there and we were looking out and we were just like reminiscing on the summer, and it was like something off a movie. It was just like I feel emotional talking about it. It was really nice. But yeah, I'd recommend going to Miami, but honestly, I personally don't think you need to spend that much time there.
No. It's good to have like as like a break, like because we went our first summer straight from being Camp New York, we went straight to Miami, and it was nice to go from being like go 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 chaos to like just having a few days to kind of like chill on the beach, play mermaids in the sea, and like just kind of relax. But yeah, like you don't need to be there forever. And just Florida sunsets in general, I just think are amazing, aren't they? Like all of my photos that I've got of like sunsets from Florida, I look at them and I'm like, wow. They are beautiful.
That's it. You've always got to chase the sunset in Florida. I do agree. But
Definitely.
from Miami, what we did last summer was we actually drove from Miami Airport all the way down to the
Mhm.
Key West. I think it was like
Mm.
a 5.5 hour drive. We only literally went
Ooh.
to do the drive and see the Key West, and then
Yeah.
drove back the next day. But it was beautiful, the Key West. I'd definitely recommend going. I wish I went there
Mm.
longer because it was a really nice like night vibe.
Yeah.
It was like I can't even think of where it reminded me of, but it was like I was in like a bit of like a Caribbean vibe type
Ooh.
thing. Like it
Mhm.
was really nice and it was really cool because there was a I think it's a naval base, like a big
Mhm.
navy base down there.
Mhm.
So like when you watch programs and you see all the navy men going out to the bars,
Yeah.
that was the vibe. It was really funny. So
Mhm.
we got to see all them and they were really drunk. It was
Mhm.
just a funny little experience. And then it was a nice drive as well, and I think it's so easy to drive in America personally.
Mhm.
So
Apart from in LA.
well, apart from in
I'll
LA.
drive anywhere except in LA. That freaks me out. But yeah, it is lovely driving in America for the most part.
And then I don't know if you've done anywhere else, but I've also like done some of the coast as well in Florida.
Mhm.
So I've been to West Palm Beach, again beautiful beaches.
Mhm.
I've been to Fort Lauderdale. That's a
Mhm.
lovely place as well. I've been to I think it's a Delray Beach, I think it is, because
Mhm.
I've got one of my campers, her and her mum lives there, and like I'm really close with them. So I got to experience like kind of what living in Florida would be
Mhm.
like, and then I think we were going to touch on this about colleges in America. We've been
Yeah.
very fortunate to go to different colleges and get that experience, haven't we? So I
Yeah.
actually, in my first summer, went to Gainesville, which is
Mhm.
UF, University of
Mhm.
Florida, and I
Go
got the full
Gators.
go Gators, and I got to have the full experience because I stayed in one of my best friend Dylan's sorority house.
Mhm.
So I got to be in like the sorority, and I stayed there, got like the girly experience, and then we went to the UF versus Utah game. So it was an
Mhm.
all day tailgate. So I got to go
Mhm.
around all the different frat houses. We literally went from frat house to frat house. Had the best mac and cheese I've ever ate in my life at one of the frat houses. But I'm sure it was like the same frat house where a guy brought like this massive python snake out of his room.
Oh my
Very strange.
God.
Yeah. But the only thing was it rained all day, which was annoying. Like by the end of the day, I
Mhm.
literally looked like Hagrid by the time we got into the stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to go around, we got to tailgate, which was really fun. And then obviously we got to see like all the parents and stuff that take their trucks down. Like a lot of people don't even go in and watch the game. They all like
Hmm.
just sit in their trucks, and it's like just
Watch it
such a,
on their phones and
yeah,
stuff.
it's such a cool vibe. But
Mm.
yeah, I've been fortunate enough to see a UF college game.
What do you actually think about the American football games? Because like you were saying, obviously like visiting colleges and stuff. I've been to Austin and I've been to Wisco, and we did the same like in Wisco and went and watched a game, and we didn't even go for it starting for starters. It was like for the most part you were like partying at the frat and stuff, and then like I think we went like literally halfway through. I was there for I don't know, maybe about half an hour, and I was bored out my brain. Like I literally just was not. I don't know if it was because I'd been out late the night before and then had been up early drinking like on that day. By the time I actually got to the game, I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't know what's going on, and it's so long. Like tick bucket list. So happy it's done, but I don't think I'd be going to another American football game anytime soon. I don't know about you.
No, I'm on the similar kind of like wavelength in the sense of we didn't really last long there because we'd
Hmm.
been out for the whole day, like tailgating. So when
Yeah.
we actually got in there, obviously we were all soaking wet because it had been raining all day, and then it got hot, and then it got like it was sunny again. So we
Yeah.
watched like the opening part where like all the players ran out and stuff. I think we watched like the first. Don't come at me, football fans. I think we watched like the first quarter.
I
Is
don't
that what
even know
it's
what it's
called?
split into. I'm assuming
No.
it's quarters. I literally don't even
Yeah.
know.
I think we saw the first quarter, then we left and we had like one of the nicest Italian meals I think I've ever eaten in my whole entire life, and then
Mm.
headed back to the sorority house and then just kind of chilled out from there. But Finn and Chris, who met up with me and Dylan, who went to camp, they watched the full game from start to finish. Bearing in mind it was one of the best UF games there's been because UF pulled it back in like the last second. They stayed out the full game. Then they went out drinking afterwards. Both of their phones died. They hitchhiked back home, like to their motel. As in, I mean, like they put the hand out with the thumb
Jesus.
and was like, "Can someone give us a lift?" These college guys gave them a lift. Please don't
Yeah.
ever do this. Just a side note. Please don't do this.
Yeah.
And then me and Dylan couldn't get in touch with them until like the next morning when they charged the phones. They didn't get into like 3:30 in the morning.
God. I bet
Yeah.
you were stressed.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it's Finn and Chris, so we knew they'd make the way back.
That'd be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I'm so jealous that you got to go to Wisco though, because I have quite a few friends that go there and I think
Hmm.
it's on my list to go after this summer for sure. But I
Cool.
also went to Austin,
Hmm.
and I got to see the University of Austin. We got to have a quick sneak peek in the stadium, which was good. We weren't meant to, but we did. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
Um,
no, a lot of the lads managed to do that in Austin as well. They were there at the same time as us, but like we weren't staying with them, and like they managed to finesse their way into the stadium, like the football one, and like get on the pitch pretty much. And they were posting all these photos, and I was like, how in the hell? Like, I wouldn't have the balls to like try and sneak in, because if someone like was like, "What are you doing here?" then I'd be like, "Ugh!" I'd like freak out and panic. But Austin is hot. It is so hot in Austin. Well, it was when we were there. And I mean, like, it was nice, but again, I didn't find that there was loads to do. We went to Barton Springs. So did you go there at all?
I have no idea. We just went to this strip where there was bars.
Sixth
Like a
Street.
mini Nash. It's like a mini Nashville Broadway.
Yeah, Sixth Street
That's
in
it.
Austin, if that's the one you're talking about. Like out we again, like fun night out, but oh my God, walking down there, and it's kind of more like I would describe like in MAGA. You know, when you go like on the strip and there's like the cars can't get up and down it on a night, like it's cordoned off so that it's literally only people can walk. Then there's like armed police officers like parked on each kind of like corner, and I was thinking, what the hell have we let ourselves in for? And then we were in this bar and like we were dancing and stuff, and this random like old guy starts like dancing. Stephen comes over to his dancing and he's like, he's got a knife in his pocket. And I was like, are you what? And he was like, he's got a knife in his pocket. I was like, keep dancing with him then, keep dancing. So yeah, like sketchy. Still here to tell the tale. Sorry to Julie, my mother, if you're listening to any of these stories that I probably haven't told you yet. She's going to be fearing for my safety when I go back this year. But yeah, Austin was fun. I think I preferred Wisco though. Austin had like a really cool. I don't know. Did you think the campus? It was kind of like a Spanishy sort of vibe.
It was beautiful.
It
Like
was
they have
really
a
nice.
gorgeous campus, and
It was.
yeah, it was beautiful, and we got to go around. Like we literally got like a tour of every single part, and I went
Mhm.
into the I can't think of what they call the college shops that do all the merch.
The bookstores.
Yeah, the bookstores. We went in there, and I've still to this day got a key ring from there. What's
Mhm.
currently propping my phone up right now is like one of them wallet card holder things that's stuck on the back of that. I spent a fortune there. But
I
yeah,
like
it was
a
a
lot of their
beautiful.
merch as well. I
It
love it.
it was a beautiful, beautiful campus.
Speaking of bookstores as well, like I don't know if this is something that you people take the mick out of you for when you go across the pond, but when my kids will they go on like a college tour type thing, and we went to Lehigh Uni and Penn State, and all they wanted to do was go to the bookstore, but like a few of the lads, like the boys campers, obviously were just taking the mick out of us the whole time because they were like, where we're going, where we're going, where we're going. I'd be like, the bookstore. But obviously, us being Northern, we say that, ooh, like book.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, going to the bookstore, the bookstore. And I'm like, oh, we're going to go to the bookstore. And they'd be like, haha, where we going? The bookstore. So that's just a little side anecdote. I don't know if
No,
you had the same issue.
yeah, no, that is funny. It's just our accent, isn't it?
It's the
But
accent.
I think the last thing I'd say on Austin, I did go to other places in Texas, but the last thing I'd say on Austin is how good the food is. We went to Terry Black's, I think it is. Oh my
At the
god.
barbecue place.
Oh, like my mouth is saliva is in my mouth right now thinking about that place. And I had one of the nicest beers, bottled beers. It was like a Texas own that I've
Mm.
ever had in my whole entire life. But no, like Wisconsin's definitely on my list of places to go because like a couple of my close friends go there.
It's
What?
actually just beautiful because like the frat that we were at was looking out over the lake. I put a video on my TikTok like just the other week, so you should have a look at it because it's literally just like the frat and then like they got that big courtyard bit out the back and then like it just looks out over the lake and it's beautiful. And when we were there it was really hot, so everyone was all sunbathing and it was really nice. But yeah, I think moving away from the college things because I feel like we could talk about our minor college experiences forever. Um Shall we end on Nashville, do you
We've
think?
got to. Come on, we
Yeah.
saved the best till last.
By a mile. I never went to Nashville my first summer and it just wasn't on my hit list of places to go. And the group that I travelled with, it wasn't on our hit list of places to go either, really. But then first summer, quite a few groups of people from camp travelled there, like pretty much after New York or after being in Miami, and they had an amazing time. So second summer we were like, right, we'll go. And it was literally just like an extended camp because camp finished, everyone was in New York for like a night or two for the staff party, and then after that, everybody went straight to Nashville, and it was just like an extended version of being a camp. It's just so much fun, isn't
It's like honestly the best place on earth. Like I wish I could explain how like amazing Nashville is. We done the same.
it?
We just spent one night in New York when we all left camp, and then we all flew to
hmm
Nashville the next day. We rented like loads of Airbnbs,
hmm
all over kind of near the Nashville Broadway
Yeah.
place. Um, and it was just like the best experience ever because it really just brought us all together. So obviously, the thing is, which I regret a little bit, is that we all went out every single night. We hammered the night out, and then we
hmm
didn't really see Broadway during the day. The only
mm
time that we did was when we went and got tattoos.
hmm
Because a few of us went and got a boot with a cowboy hat on,
hmm
me included. Um, and that's kind of my only regret from Nashville. And I didn't really do many touristy things, just
Mm.
Broadway, really. Um,
I honestly don't feel like there's too many touristy things to do. Like again, like I haven't done a lot. We saw the is it called the Panathen or Panathen, and it's like it looks like a big Greek building, like a not a colosseum, that's Roman. You know, like in Hercules, like the movie, where it's like the big building, it's got like the big pillars out the front, and they've got like the lines in them. It's
Yeah.
a massive one of them. I think it's called the Panarthen or something along those lines. Someone can correct me maybe in a comment somewhere. And it's like in a park. Went there, and then I went to a farmers market thing. Then there was like a museum I went to. I never did the Country Music Hall of Fame or the Johnny Cash Museum or anything like that. But honestly, again, like even just the same as being in New York, even just walking up and down Broadway is nice enough in itself. And just like being with everyone, even if you're like hungover and you literally just sit in your apartment and watch movies all day with everyone, it's just nice. It's a lovely vibe in Nashville.
No, it is. And one thing that I didn't realise, which I was a bit like, oh, I was a bit gutted about,
Mhm.
was the fact that they don't play country music in every single bar. For instance, the
Mhm.
Morgan Wallen bar, they've got like a couple different levels, don't they? And
Yeah.
then I think it's the top one that plays the country one
Yeah.
um where it's like outdoor, it's like the
Yeah,
rooftop.
the rooftop.
But a lot of the bars are kind of a mixture of normal music and country
Mhm.
music, which I personally only listen to country music. Like I'm literally obsessed.
Mm.
I think I listen to the same playlist every single day, and I've noticed that the same songs keep playing. So my
Yeah.
Spotify Wrapped at the end of this year is going to be funny. Um,
Uh-huh.
but that's it. They don't just play country music. So if you're going and you're a little bit worried, it's also like normal music as well.
They play a lot of like rock, I would say as well, like kind of classic rock type stuff. Which again is like a good thing if you're not if obviously sad for you because all you do is listen to country music. But if you maybe don't listen to country music as much, by the time you've finished a few nights in Nashville, you will be listening to country music. If you haven't already started listening to it by the time you finished at camp. That's a whole different story in itself. The country music pipeline that you kind of fall through when you go to camp. But yeah, they play like a bit of everything, which is nice. And like there's always live music. Like it's very rare that you'll go into somewhere and it'll just be like music playing over a speaker. Like 9 times out of 10, especially on an evening, it's some sort of like live band or like singer. And yeah, it's just good vibes everywhere. And my favourite part is now there's a Raising Cane's on the corner of Broadway. So I finished nearly every night in Nashville going into Raising Cane's and getting myself a Cane's. And I also bought myself a sticker because they have really cool Cane's merch in Nashville. And now that Raising Cane's Nashville sticker sits proudly on the back of my suitcase.
That's so funny. The first time I ever had Raisin Canes was in Nashville,
Was
and
it?
we were in one of the bars, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm a little bit hungry, so I just
Hmm.
wandered out the bar on my own. That's why I
Hmm.
feel like the Broadway strip's quite like safe, personally.
Yeah, in Nashville, yeah.
Um, so I went toddled over to Raisin Canes and went in, and I was in the line, and I was looking at the menu, and then this guy behind me said something to me, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, what?" And then he heard my accent, and then like he insisted on paying for my Raisin Canes because I had an accent.
That's
And
so
I was
funny.
like, and he was like, "Will you come and sit with me?" So I was like, "Well, like this guy's adamant that he's going to pay for my Raisin Canes. I've
Hmm.
said no, it's totally fine." And then like he's literally went and paid for it, so I had no other choice.
Yeah.
So I sat with this guy and I was chatting with him, and we were just eating our Raisin Canes together. And then he just like I was starting to get a bit weird vibes from him, so I was like texting my friends. Nobody had known I'd left because I just wandered off out of this bar, and I was like, "Somebody, please come into Raising Cane's and save me right now." And then he went to the toilet and he came back, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much," and I just dashed off and didn't see him the rest of the night, thankfully. So yeah, that was my Raising Cane's first time story.
Mhm. My first Raising Cane's was in Chicago, second summer, and me and Stephen went and had it in Chicago, and we instantly fell in love with it. But Chicago, and then after Chicago, we were only in Wisconsin, and I think I had it twice when I was in Wisco. And after that, I left, and literally for the whole rest of the year, whilst we were waiting to go back, like last summer, we'd just be sending each other TikToks of Raising Cane's. It's like my favorite thing to do. Another thing actually, like this is just like not like a place, but my favorite thing to do when I'm traveling is spot the camp counselors because from a mile off you can tell like the groups of people that you see in the airport, and they've got their Crocs on and they've got their water bottle with all their stickers on. You're like, camp counselor. Like that's my favorite thing to do, just try and like see who's where. Or like when we were in Nashville, we stayed in these block of apartments, which I would 100% recommend the Sonda apartments in Nashville. For 4 nights, there was 12 of us in there, and there was more than enough room, and it was like £48 for like 4 or 5 nights or something. Very cheap, very good, and it had a big rooftop, and there was like obviously people from other camps staying there, so it was like a little camp crossover, being like, oh, which camp did you go to? Which camp did you go to? That's my favorite game to play.
Yeah, well, just to kind of round up the whole traveling episode, about spotting camp counselors, which is just so funny, is that we were getting on to the bus in Dallas to go to Austin, and I saw this girl and she had a Paulie's top on. Now, if you know Hornsdale, like around like the area, if you go to like Trails End or anywhere like that, Hornsdale's our place that you kind of go to. It's our closest town, and she had a Paulie's top on, and it's this like hot dog sandwiches place. It's disgusting, but it tastes divine. And anyways, I was like, oh my god, she's got a Hornsdale top on. And then we got talking. They were only from Newcastle.
No way.
Yeah, from
What the
Newcastle.
hell?
We got on the bus. Didn't speak to them. We got off in Austin. That night, we were in one of the bars in Austin. Guess who walks in?
No
Them
way.
exact same girls, right? So we're like chatting away with them, having a conversation, and then we go to another bar and we're like, oh, do you want to come with us? They come with us. Then as we leave Austin to fly to Miami, we're sat in the airport, and me and one of the girls got up to go to the toilet. Lo and behold, the same girls walk past us. They got on their
Just
flight to go
following you.
somewhere else. It was so weird, like the chain of events. Like we just saw each other in this place, and then like
Yeah.
didn't plan it, and saw each other in the next place, and then the next place. And now I follow them on Instagram, and I'm just loving seeing their life and what they're getting up to.
It's so funny. It's actually so easy to like make friends as well from other camps when you're traveling, and guarantee 9 times out of 10, if you like can tell that someone's clearly been working at another camp and you spark up a conversation with them, they'll probably chat to you.
That's it. No, 100%. But I think that kind of wraps up the different places that we have travelled to. I'm sure we've got a lot more to add to the list.
Yeah.
I definitely think we could talk about your road trip in our next episode that you went on, because you listeners, I'm also going to be listening to the podcast for tips and tricks, because I want to do a road trip this year. But yeah, kind of rounding off the video, we hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, these are all just our own personal opinions. I'm sure people will have different opinions of the places that we've been to. But feel free to reach out to us if you want any more tips on different places. But we will be doing a video around tips and tricks on traveling around the US. But yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.